welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Akari, this is Stoneforge Mystic Dreadnought. I've played a lot of Dreadnought decks on the channel over the years, including just a couple weeks ago I played Azorious Dreadnought. But in terms of two decks both being Azorious Dreadnought, these decks are very different. The one that I trophied with a couple weeks ago leaned all the way in on sticking a big stupid monster early. It was playing 4 copies of Null Drifter, maxed out on Doorkeeper Thrall, maxed out on Dress Down, of which in this build there are only 2 and 1, respectively. This deck is much more based around Stoneforge Mystic and being kind of a tempo Cauldron deck that can also present Phyrexian Dreadnought, less than a turbo tempo deck that relies on Dreadnought to win. Stifle being a powerful tempo card. Stifling land drops, always powerful in Legacy. We've got 4 Wasteland and 3 Days in here to punish people who are missing land drops or getting their land drops stifled. Slip Out the Back is a fun one because we can phase out Stoneforge Mystic or even our Cauldron Germ token to protect it from removal and keep the beats coming. But it also slides a Dreadnought into play. Lava Spur Boots comes out of Urza's Saga or Stoneforge Mystic and makes Phyrexian Dreadnought bigger, hasty, and has ward. And kind of the bridge between both decks is Cryptic Coat. This is just a powerful recursive threat that comes out of Stoneforge Mystic, and if you happen to cloak a Phyrexian Dreadnought, you can flip it up at any point and surprise take 13. The friction in this deck is that Doorkeeper Thrall is horrible with Stoneforge Mystic, because Stoneforge Mystic doesn't tutor and Cauldron doesn't make a germ. If Doorkeeper Thrall is in play, that's a pretty big non-bow, but we can decide what plan we're on before we start casting cards. Thrall being useful against the format in general, things like Grief, Bowmaster, Atraxa, Archon of Cruelty, shutting all that down is really useful, so this card is nice being around. It's also one of the best enablers for Dreadnought because it just sits in play and eventually you can draw Dreadnought and cast it. But I like the restraint of only playing 2 when it's so bad with the other half of your deck. That's the major non-bow here. The rest of this stuff makes a lot of sense to me. There's a high basic count because we also have back to basics in the sideboard, which also makes us resilient versus Wastelands, Blood Moons, that sort of thing. And that is pretty much the deck here. It's primarily Stoneforge Mystic, with a nice little wide open backdoor for Phyrexian Dreadnought. There's some synergy between the plans, some anti-synergy between the plans. Let's see how it works out. Kari sent me this deck in celebration of winning a local Legacy tournament. Said there was 21 people there, and it was his 2nd tournament ever. So congrats to Kari, and this deck has defeated some people in the past. Let's hope we can keep that going today. I'm on the draw with a hand that has Stifle, Daze, and a threat. I'll keep this. I'd love to see Fetchland go from the opponent. I would hate to see Chalice of the Void from the opponent. Oh, Defense Grid, that might be worse. I have to assume this is some sort of Mystic Forge combo deck, and I think Wasteland is my best path forward here. Because I can't put a threat on the board, I can't disrupt them meaningfully, and we're chilling at this point. It was a Show and Tell. A Defense Grid and Volcanic Island in the same deck is some old school stuff I haven't seen in a minute. Nope, not Show and Tell. Oh, Paradoxical Outcome. Interesting. Alright, there's some spice going on over there. Vexing Bauble, okay. There's 2 cards left in their hand. Vexing Bauble is basically the same thing as Defense Grid, except probably worse. I'll play Archive. I'll keep this land. All I can really do here is cast Stoneforge Mystic and hope it kills them before I die. They did not draw a card off Vexing Bauble in the end step, so they could still have plans for that. Grim Monolith. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic. Go cause some problems, I hope. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Gonna get Cauldron and start to apply pressure. Tapping the Monolith is probably bad for me. The One Ring, certainly bad. They sack their Vexing Bauble, which turns on Daze, because I will have 3 mana next turn. They have the protection from the One Ring at this time. No reason to really do anything yet. If I skip putting in Cauldron, I can cast Daze. Not totally sold that Daze is going to be useful here. I am representing Force of Will now, too, that they have to respect, with now that their Bobble's gone. But I guess Defense Grid turns off the Bobble anyway. Yeah, that was never doing anything. But also never doing anything is my hand versus the Scrid. 1 card left. They can still tap the ring. Gamble. Yikes. All right. Well, this is just Entomb. I expect Echo of Eons to be the hit. Indeed it was. And they have plenty to pay for a Daze here. I'm going to fetch for Tundra in response. And then just let this happen. I'm not going to put Cauldra in when I could hit Force of Will. Yeah, let's take the spin. I did hit Force of Will and Force of Negation. Lion's Eye Diamond. They've not tapped this ring yet. They've been really cagey about using that, which is smart. A Vexing Bobble doesn't matter because of Defense Grid. They tap the 1 ring. Now if they go in on an Echo of Eons, I actually have them covered. Memory resolves. Transmute Artifact in the graveyard. Aetherflux Reservoir. I'm going to activate Stoneforge Mystic. And put in nothing. Got him. Let's keep you on your toes over there. Okay, now I have Stifle available. Or I could Ponder and try to do some other stuff. I could Stifle 1 thing or Force 1 thing. If I Ponder, I lose the ability to Stifle, but I think Force is going to be more useful. There's a Dreadnought. Kind of sucks because I do need to kill my opponent somehow, but that's not going to do it. Okay, you're out. Paradox Engine. Well, this card is unbeatable. I better force it. They could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could just replay it with Emery. Oh, I have Force of Negation. Got him. Okay, Force of Negation costs 3 mana plus exiling Stifle from my hand. Hopefully the negation is good enough, but we'll see. They have functionally 7 cards in hand. Could be 8 if they sack their Bobble. That doesn't do anything. Functionally 9 if we count the cards that they could cast with Emery. Okay, they Echo of Eons from the graveyard now. I guess what I'm hoping for at this point is their list only has 1 Paradox Engine, and that it's really hard to win from here. I don't even know if that's true or reasonable, but it's what I've got. They're drawing off Bobble, so they can cast another Bobble, different Bobble. That's just good deck building. Vexing Bobble in a deck full of Lotus Petals and Mishra's Bobbles, and Crow Moxes, and Mox Opals, and Defense Grid. Wild stuff. Emery replayed Mishra's Bobble. Looks like we're getting a turn. Wild. Okay. They are currently under Defense Grid, which means that my stuff's going to work. To start with Ponder. That is a Force of Will. I don't know if that's something I'm interested in right now. So I guess with them bleeding out to their 1 ring, I take it. Okay, I'm drawing Force. And then I have to Swords to Plowshares Emery. Take that engine off. Versus Saga is a threat. If I knew they were Coveted Jewel, I could play Doorkeeper Thrall and bet that that would be better than Force of Will. And Thrall stops ring protection from happening. Do I think they're Jewel is the issue here. Because I'd rather have Force versus Paradox of Outcome, a card that we know we have. Alright, I'm going to hold up Force. Drawing 3 cards in my end step. Firing a bunch of Bobbles, so functionally drawing 3 more cards in my end step. Okay, so they have 9 cards in hand. It's going to be 12 before they have to make any decisions this turn. Gamble resolves. Discarded Ancient Tomb. Gamble with 12 cards in hand is pretty close to Demonic Tutor. Aetherflux Reservoir. This card seems like it would be challenging to beat. Yeah, this might be bait, but I think it's bad enough that I have to fight over it. That's also a life gain outlet for this 1 ring that they are dying to. They're at 6. If they tap this Ancient Tomb, they're dead on board, which means that the 8 cards in their hand have to keep the party going, which is very likely. They have 8 freaking cards in their hand. Here comes the bunch of zeros. That would have made Aetherflux Reservoir really good. Tapping the ring back up to 9 cards. Played a second Mox Opal without tapping the first one. Just getting it out of your hand, I guess. Building Storm. LED. 7 cards. Echo of Eons number 3, discarded to the graveyard. There's 1 of those left. Here we go. Take our spin. Handful of cards I can't use. Gamble. Let's see, Aetherflux Reservoir hit the graveyard. PO hitting the graveyard's pretty big too, though. That might have been the gamble, actually. I feel like there's just so many cards in this deck that killed me that it barely matters. Okay, there's the Reservoir. Now I'm deceased. Okay, they gained 13 off this one. They need 50 life to kill me. And Stifle would be so good against this. For 29, they need 2 more spells out of their 3-card hand. Gamble. Discard some 0 that you just tutored for, please. Urza Saga hit the graveyard. Doubt that was the tutor. Looks like a hard cast Echo of Eons for the win. Okay, yeah. Weird game. I thought I was dead when they had the turn 1 defense grid, and then we just played forever. Okay. Damping Sphere comes in. Serenity's great. Deafening Silence is great. Back to Basics doesn't seem the worst. Teferi seems fine. I could see arguments for Surgical. Prismatic Ending can answer things like Defense Grid. I actually think I should back off the Dreadnought stuff a little bit, because this matchup is much more about not dying than it is about winning. The Stifles still have text on their own. I don't think Dress Down's very good on its own. It is blue for the 5 forces in my deck. It's about all that's going on, though. Flusterstorm hits Paradoxical Outcome, and we've seen Gamble, too, and Echo. Alright, yeah, that's good enough. Did not see a Jewel. I think the Doorkeepers can come out. Yeah, I guess I'm leaving in 1 Dreadnought, just in case. Oh, did I board too much? What happened here? Oh, this Dreadnought's in the wrong pile. Oh, I built my piles all wonky. I can actually keep a Dreadnought. I can have 2 of those and 1 other card here. And Back to Basics might get them. They do have a lot of artifact lands. I kind of want Urza Saga if I'm cutting Dreadnoughts. Maybe Dress Down is still fine. Could like turn off Emery for a turn. Sometimes these decks win with Thassa's Oracle. This is underwhelming, but I think it's good enough. The Wasteland plus Daze is meaningful interaction. Urza Saga is a threat. Otawara has use. Just gonna Tundra pass here. I know there's a Meticulous Archive in my deck, but if I have to Daze, I don't have to pick up a tap land. Ancient Tomb. Okay, I'm gonna Daze this with the plan of wasting them and leaving them with no mana to start their next turn with. And I'm not gonna cast this Brainstorm because my plan is to waste them, and then by then I'd have to draw all the Brainstorm cards anyway, and it's like I didn't Brainstorm at all. Okay, let's hope that early squeeze slows them down enough, or we just play the same turn 1 over again, except I don't have a land in play. Horrific. Okay, that didn't go my way. Lava Spur Boots, not what I'm looking for. Brainstorm would have to come up with Force plus blue card to interact here. I gotta respect the possibility of Hull Breacher. It just seems like a card that this deck might pivot onto. They're a wheel deck naturally, plus a lot of combo decks play Hull Breacher versus control decks. Something's happening in my end step. Paradoxical Outcome for 2 cards. I'll Brainstorm in response. Found a Fluster and Force blue card. That's the good stuff. Put back Ridiculous Archive and Lava Spur Boots. I can exactly Flusterstorm this. Storm is 3. They have 2 mana up. That may have been bait to untap and shove a 1 ring, but I'm now ready for that too. Vexing Bauble. Hate that for me, but I'm not going to fight over it. I can hardcast Force of Negation this turn, and as we've seen, their deck has like 20-something cards that don't function under this. I think holding up Force is better than playing the Stoneforge. Have a threat on board in the form of Urza Saga. Nice. Good deck building. Got another one? That's why I didn't fight over Vexing Bauble. Saga ticks up. Found a Brainstorm. Now I can Brainstorm and then activate Saga and do a lot. Untapping Monolith is fine. That costs 2 life. Echo of Eons is on the stack. I can just exile this forever. That seems worth doing. I should have Brainstormed. That was a spew. Okay, and sacking their Vexing Bauble, which turns on Daze. And also turns on this Mishra's Bauble from their hand. Okay, there's a Cauldra. I'm about to get a Shuffle anyway. I definitely don't want Cauldra in my hand, so I'm going to Brainstorm. I like Wasteland. Put Cauldra and Meticulous Archive back into the deck. Or, yeah, I'm playing Wasteland this turn. I'm going to fetch a basic island. Do I want a Construct, or do I want to play Stoneforge Mystic? What are my tutors? I can basically get Lava Spur Boots here, or a Dreadnought that dies immediately. Okay, I am going to make the Construct, and I'm going to tutor Lava Spur Boots, because the Boots means I can play Stoneforge and activate it all next turn. Lava Spur Boots in play. Wasteland your Ancient Tomb out from under you. Just trying to make Daze relevant. They have 2 mana right now. Okay, sick. Oh, I'm 1 mana short, actually, of doing everything I wanted to do. I can still attack with Stoneforge this turn. I'll get Cauldra, equip this, attack for 4, force blue card at the ready. If they use this Mishra's Bauble to dig, it turns off Mox Opal. 2 mana in the pool. I think with the Force of Will available, I'm not going to make big moves dazing a Grim Monolith, because my opponent is also just dead on board. They have 4 mana exactly. Okay, passing the turn. Now I can put in Cauldra and attack for exactly 8. I can make it 9 if I want to move the boots over, but I don't think that's necessary. Cool. All right. No sideboard cards, no problem. Yeah, I think this is still my plan. Back to basics being the one maybe that I haven't brought in yet. That might be better than Dress Down. I'll make that switch. Here we go. That's what hard mode looks like. Maybe I'll just draw Deafening Silence this game and easily win. Ooh, that's awkward. I mean, Serenity is really good, but I have no follow-up and no blue mana. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay. Forest blue card, Saga, some stuff to do. I'm in. I'm going to bottom Lava Spur Boots. Opponent's also on 6. Urza Saga. And me without a Serenity. And I just boarded out Dress Down. We went 2 full games, 2 long games without seeing a Saga. Bunch of artifacts. Defense Grid, okay. It might be reasonable to force Defense Grid. Just because I know they're a draw 7 deck. Ponder, well, there's Deafening Silence. Okay, fingers crossed, give me 1 turn. Ancient Tomb, what's your last card? Okay, looks like we're going to be in an Urza Saga showdown where they went first. And they have more artifacts than me. Yeah, boarding out that Dress Down, that last minute pivot. Just didn't see an Urza Saga for 2 long games. Interesting. Maybe they discarded one at some point to an LED and I could have been paying more attention. Basically no removal in my deck at this point either. Yeah, we're just going to get clowned by this. I can't even ponder into Serenity here and try to buy a turn because A, I'm already dead, and B, yeah, okay. Alright, got me with the Urza Saga. GG. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2. My hand is good against fair decks and bad against unfair decks. I'm going to keep it. Blue to Delta. Alright. Scam is on the menu. Can I draw a blue card for this force? I cannot. I drew an artifact that needs help before it does anything. Well, they didn't entomb in the end step. That's a good start. Grief pitching Psychic Frog. I think I want to plow this Grief. Let's just get that out of the mix. It's going to be bad news no matter what. They're fetching in response to that. If Plow gets dazed and then they reanimate, my hand is basically empty. Okay. Yep. Bad news. Okay. They have 2 unknowns in their hand. They floated blue. I imagine they take Plow, and then on the reanimate, they take Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, it's Psychic Frog. Okay. There's 1 unknown in their hand. Well, if their unknown is Daze, we're in trouble. I would like to get... Oh, Cryptic Coat gives me Force of Will. Yeah, I'll get Cryptic Coat. That also lets me block here and makes them discard a card to push the trade. Or not the trade, the combat win. Cauldra can just go so wrong so many ways. Like, if they kill Stoneforge, Caudra's a blank. If they reanimate Grief, Caudra's a blank. I'm going to block. This is going to cost you a card if you want to do anything other than touch butts here. They do not want to touch butts. Discarded the Underground Sea that they picked up with Daze. Wasteland. Well, I'm losing this anyway. Time to rip a Stifle. Come on, deck. Stifle off the tippity top. Not a Stifle, but it is a magic card. Stoneforge Mystic. This one is going to tutor Cauldra. Coming right back for you here. Maybe I'm supposed to play Flooded Strand there to get the Meticulous Archive. Yeah, I think that land drop was incorrect. I just saw the Wasteland and thought, or sure. Or we just rip reanimate, whatever the fuck. Definitely wish I had Flooded Strand in play at this point. I'm going to block the frog. I don't want them drawing cards. I think if I were them, I would have given it flying there. Yeah, Wasteland's fine. Stifle off the top. Daze. Right on time. Okay, we're dead. Yeah, ripping Reanimate was pretty annoying. I can still put a giant 12/12 into play, though. That has not left my ability. They are running away with this if I don't make it happen soon. Oh, they drew a Traxa for turn. That's at least a blank, but it does push extra damage. Daze is really good against an opponent with one land. Gonna fetch for the Archive in the end step. Come on, Enabler. Urza Saga, way too slow. I have one more turn before I have to panic about deck thinning. Alright, yeah, now we've probably lost. That was the turn where I really needed to get on board. I can't block either of these creatures, though, so it doesn't really matter. I need to brainstorm into 2 removal spells. That's the game I could still play. Well, Grief still plays around Daze. Can't wait till Grief is banned. So sick of this. Dreadnought's gone. I'm dead on board to 2 unblockable creatures. I think I should fetch one of these in case I draw 1 removal spell. Then I'm still alive. On deck. Stoneforge Mystic does not help anymore. Okay. Yeah, that Reanimate off the top was Nightmare Fuel. Let's figure out what we're going to do against this. Shadow Spear can help swing Erase. Teferi's not great. It does remove annoying creatures from play. Don't really want to play Force of Will at all, or Force of Negation. We got Flusterstorm, Surgical, Teferi, Supreme Verdict. All these prismatic endings are coming in. Yeah, this kind of soft pivot on Dreadnought kind of stings, actually, in these last couple matchups where it's... The last matchup wasn't really about killing them, and this matchup is about having your cards line up correctly, which Phyrexian Dreadnought was just blank cardboard in my hand the entire game there. Obviously, if I found one of the enablers, it would have been my one way to punch my way back in. But it's tough to balance that. Do I want Teferi over Dazes? Do I want to be dazing them at all? If I cut all my Dazes, I can keep all 4 Dreadnoughts, or I can keep Lava Spur Boots. Or I could just put 1 Daze or 1 Force in here. Let's keep the Dreadnoughts. Let's try to make it happen. Nope, changed my mind. I'll put 1 Force of Will in. Let's go. Okay, a unplayable hand. I'll mulligan this. Okay, this hand is colorless, which I think is a full disqualification. And the Surgical is tempting. So we're just mulling to 5 against Scam. Cool. Alright, I'll keep this one. Bottom Teferi and Slip. And I'm just going to Island Pass. I can stifle a fetch land. I could stifle a Grief. That's not a fetch land. That is a Grief. Pitching Archon of Cruelty. Stifle the discard. Make sure you don't accidentally stifle the Evoke. That's the worst thing you can do. And they're floating a black and dazing. Cool. Yeah, 1 mana interaction on the play. Not good enough. Totally reasonable deck to exist. Strip the Ponder. They clearly have a Reanimate. I mean, drawing a white source is good either way here. Kinda. Yeah, that'll show you. Okay, it's too late for Surgical. Here they have the Wasteland to follow up. 4 cards in hand. We know one of them's Underground Sea. Okay, 2 cards in hand that aren't Underground Sea. Get to play around Daze. We're in there. I'm going to get the Coat to play around removal. Discard gets me no matter what I do. Undercity Sewers gets some selection. Dumped in Entomb. Fatal Push. Okay, glad I got this thing. There's the Underground Sea we knew about, and they went Hellbent to get me Hellbent. Okay. I mean, this is a position that my deck with white removal and a bunch of threats can come back from. I just need to draw some of those things before I'm dead. Stifle's not it. Stifle does stop Animate dead. Come on, removal spell. Urza Saga. I go to 8, I make a construct. I go to 5, I make another construct. Okay, I can technically stabilize at 5. I can stifle this Wasteland. Ka-chow! Got him! Finally, a good exchange. Stoneforge Mystic. I think this is better than a construct. Stoneforge Mystic. Tutor. Get... I guess it's just Cauldra, because I can get Shadow Spear next turn off the Saga. Okay. Ponder. Unlucky for me. A Reanimate strips my Cauldra. Did not shuffle. Sick. Cool. Yeah, why not? Everything's wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to stabilize at 5 against one of the Griefs. And then I have to figure out what's happening with the other one. A land would actually be a really good draw, because then I could equip Shadow Spear. Brainstorm. I think I brainstorm now to make informed decisions with. Teferi and Dreadnought. Okay. I guess I have to keep Teferi. Or I could... No, I'm definitely keeping Teferi. What am I even saying? All right. I put back these two things. Make the construct. I tutor Shadow Spear. I double block one of the griefs, then I bounce the other one. And stabilize it too, is the plan. Certainly my opponent won't draw an easy removal spell to kill me immediately. Cool. Alright, that was no fun, and grief needs to be banned. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the play in round number 3 with no colored sources of mana. I'm going to mulligan. I will keep this one. And for me, it's between Brainstorm, Dreadnought, and Stoneforge Mystic. I think I actually want to bottom the Stoneforge Mystic and try to go for an aggressive Dreadnought here. I can stifle their first fetch, or I can let them play Magic and get Meticulous Archive. Okay. Stifling their fetch isn't going to be a thing. Uncounterable Halfling. Okay, so we're probably playing as Nadu. Alright, let's see if I can find a second land off this archive. Ooh, Swords of Plowshares is not the second land, but it is very good here. I will keep it and hope this isn't some wasteland deck. And I'm not going to try to brainstorm into an answer. I just found my answer. Let's go back to where we came from, which is the garbage. Ooh, force pitching Teferi on that. That means they care about it. Okay. Missing land drops, hanging out. Basic Island. Brainstorm. Trying to find another halfling to cast. Okay. Land? Doorkeeper Thrall. Alright, I will brainstorm now. Don't need 2 Dreadnoughts. I kind of do want 2 Stifles. Because if they try to fetch land here, I can punish it. They were not able to shuffle that Brainstorm. Oh yeah, let's get them. Coming for you. Island. Stifle. Let's leave that Nadu in your hand. Or Teferi, which is even worse. Drew the days. Dreadnought, Stifle. Okay, 2 hits. Fingers crossed. I could daze a Teferi or a Nadu. Wowie zowie. We did it. I picked up the archive for selection rather than trying to cast a white card this turn. Ooh, I'm going to bin that Dreadnought, even though I do have Dress Down for it. I'd rather try to get it done with the first one. Dried Arbor. Should have kept the Dreadnought. Lava Spur Boots. Yeah, this second Dreadnought would have actually been really good. Yeah, maybe with the Dress Down in my hand, it's not like milling the Dreadnought protects my first one in any way. Yeah, that was bad. Okay. They are completely banked up now. Come on, a threat. Okay, that's eventually a threat. 1 card left. It does not appear to be Nadu. And calls are complete. The perfect draw. Now I have kind of a weird decision of, do I want to make a construct or do I want to tutor a Dreadnought that doesn't have trample for a turn? Like, I could tutor a Dreadnought, give it haste by dressing down, or I could just make 2 constructs and try to bash. I have 2 cards in hand. I think I'm going to make the construct now. See if they want to interact with that. What's even left in my deck to tutor for? It's only Dreadnoughts, right? Because the boots are in hand, or in play. Right, I'll draw for turn and see how I feel. Ooh, slip out the back. That solves all my problems. Okay. Now I can get a Dreadnought. Just slip it out. Okay, that's phased out. Don't have to sacrifice it. Put boots to construct. Attack for 3. Okay. They're back in check. Okay. Don't draw Nadu. Fingers crossed. Ponder. Oh no. We all know Ponder is just Demonic Tutor. They shuffled. They shuffled. They were casting a halfling. Exactly Nadu mana left, but they just tapped out of... Or no, they didn't tap out of Daze Protection. So that doesn't tell me anything. Good news, though. I think they're dead. Oh, that was really good. Alright, I gain 1 million. And my creature gets smaller. Ponder. I think I want to take this Brainstorm. This puts Cauldron back into the deck, sees one new card. There's one Dreadnought left in my deck. I don't think Dress Down is the solution I'm looking for. They do have to block this turn. If they double block with Nomad and Halfling, they get a 1-for-1 trade, though. I just really don't think Dress Down is going to help me. I'll represent this white mana, and maybe they think about stuff in combat, like just take a chump block rather than a great block. It appears that they don't know how Nomad works outside of combo situation, because they could have just blocked with Nomad, redirected the next 3 to Halfling, or Arbor, or whatever creature they wanted to lose there. Okay. Ponder. Force and Negation Otawara Ponder. I can attack with Stoneforge Mystic next turn if I keep the Otawara. Okay. I am going to keep the Ponder with the Otawara under it. Okay, don't draw Nadu. 1 card in hand. They're beginning the slow work of dealing 41 damage to me. Okay, Stoneforge. And I'm going to get Cryptic Coat, because they are dead anyway. I'm going to Ponder off the Otawara. Shuffle this. If I find Swords to Plowshares, I won't equip. Alright, well, we did it. Yeah, now I don't care if they do draw Nadu. Then I can give Cryptic Coat haste next turn and get 4 unblockable damage through. Brainstorm into Brainstorm. They're seeing 1 new card here. Their 2 cards have to be Nadu plus Nomad here, or Nadu plus Daze. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Did I speak it into existence? Oh, good. We got him. What a crazy game that was predicated entirely on my opponent not drawing the card their deck is built to cast. Okay, put in Cryptic Coat. Wouldn't it be funny if this was a Dreadnought? It's just a Brainstorm. Okay, this has haste and kills you. That was a scrappy, fun little thing. Combo deck hitting its fail rate versus deck that presented multiple threats over and over again. What's my plan for Nadu? Just lose, probably. Okay, Supreme Verdict actually seems good. Teferi seems reasonable. Surgical's interesting because if I counter or get a combat trade with a Nomad, I can make their deck really bad. But this card doesn't do anything to disrupt their combo. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the white removal than Surgicals. That just doesn't even make sense. And if their deck has Cavern of Souls and Elated Halfling, do I just go completely force-free here? We've seen Teferi, which is a nightmare if it's in play. My deck barely functions if there's a Teferi in play. At least the Dreadnought part of the deck. But if Teferi is uncounterable or resolves before I draw a Force of Will, then that hardly matters. Giving my stuff Trample is relevant. They have a lot of dinguses. I think I still want Daze, and once again, I'm going to shave a Dreadnought. It's becoming the control deck again, as is my way. Okay, I think this hand is good enough. Windswept Teeth in under the Stifle. Okay, they're actually playing around Stifle. They got a tap land. Into Nomad, and me without my Surgicals. Ooh, okay. I'm ready to Dreadnought on 2 here with Daze protection. Removal, Stifle. I will take one of the removal spells, and I'll draw the Stifle next turn. William! I love William. Except when he's against me. I hate William. Dreadnought. Slip it. I think slipping it is better than stifling it, because Stifle has other text in the matchup. Though Slip protects it from Plow. Yeah, whether I want to try to mess up their game plan or protect my Dreadnought is an interesting decision. Okay, I have to sack my enchantment. My Dreadnought's not there for them to name Artifact with. I'm down to 1 land. And I'm drawing another spell that's not helpful. Yeah, well, if I didn't stifle it in, they would have... Yeah, that's just... They just had it. Okay. They had 2 answers to Dreadnought, so they had me covered no matter which way I did that. Brainstorm resolves. Need a land pretty quick. Bill's up to 4-4 already. Alright, sweet. They got greedy. Daze Teferi. Still getting bashed. They're still just like Nadu plus land drop away from winning. The 3rd Prismatic Ending. This card would be great if they had a 1-drop or I had 2 lands. Yep, Nadu's in. I'm gonna have to stifle a Bill trigger here. Okay. Just fair Nadu beats coming. Yeah, this is the strength of Nadu, though. It just goes into normal decks where it's good. And my opponent had Pick your poison, Swords to Plowshares, all these like cool normal ways to fight a game of Magic. Maybe I should be pushing harder and not respecting your creatures at all. But if I'm doing that, I should have all my Dreadnoughts in. Maybe there's a middle ground. If I had just hit land drops, the Prismatic Endings would have been good. I'm not going to freak out here and do the wrong thing. So Force of Will is my only way to actually keep Nadu out of play. I've dazed them enough times that hopefully they respect it now. And I can board them out and they still play around them. Okay, here we go. I will keep this hand. The Fair and Square Stifle. And the normal-ass land, Delighted Halfling. I am going to force this because my hand doesn't work anymore. If that resolves. Hello? I think I'm going to try to thrall this in and keep Stifle available rather than shove it in now. Another Halfling. Okay. Dryad Arbor. Gross. Fetch Tundra. Play Doorkeeper Thrall. I'm going to brainstorm and look for a removal spell. Found a counter spell that doesn't work on Nadu. Supreme Verdict doesn't matter. And Stifle might still be good. Alright. I'm shoving the Dreadnought. Attacking for 1. I can Force of Will a Swords to Plowshares if they can even cast 1. But Nadu is uncounterable. I can counter Nomad. They don't have any ways to target Nadu. There's a Plains. They could play an uncounterable Teferi and then play a Swords to Plowshares. Uro. Alright. That one I don't care about. It does just get to arrive because of Doorkeeper Thrall. Come on, Swords to Plowshares. Okay, so if I take Meticulous Archive now, play that, get rid of Supreme Verdict, attack for 13, stifle the Uro trigger so they don't gain life. I might not even need to do that. They go to 9, I'm still attacking for 13. I am going to stifle this. Let's make this as hard as possible. I take 6. Force of Will's up. Please don't cast a fairy. Nomad doesn't matter. And if they sequence the Nadu second, the Nomad matters a lot. But I don't want to get blown out by Force of Will. Or by Swords of Plowshares. I don't want to burn my Force on Nomad if they don't have it. Wow, GG's. What a sick match that was. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. It's round 4. I am on the play. I'm gonna have to think about this hand. Trips Swords to Plowshares that I can't cast, but I do have Urza Saga Wasteland and Daze. I'm gonna mulligan. We can do better. Okay. We did better. This is basically the same hand except cast spells. I will keep this and bottom, I believe, Prismatic Vista. Or I could just say Wasteland's not good here. I could keep my colors, or I could keep my Mana Denial. But keeping my colors keeps Urza Saga going. But I don't have to play Urza Saga on turn 2 if Wasteland looks like it's going to make sense. I'm going to bottom the Wasteland and keep my colors. Opponent's also on 6. Blooded Strand, go. Misty Rainforest, stifle ya. I'm just going to get Tundra. You can't make me play on basics. I refuse. Okay, get the Saga train rolling. I can hardcast Daze or pitchcast Force here. Okay. Cephalid Breakfast, probably. I'm not going to Daze the Shuko. I would rather save that for the Illusionist itself. You're a Brainstorm. I generally enjoy having access to that card. Alright, they're on Mono Sagas. We knocked them off colorless mana. Or colored mana. This also means that they're not going to be able to make a construct out of the first Urza Saga at all. I think this is a Lava Spur Boots beatdown situation. Boots, free Saga, Whip in for 7. Okay, here we go. I still have Force Blue card and Daze available to an opponent who clearly is struggling on mana. Nice, we did it. If they're super dialed in, we did give them enough information to know we're a Dreadnought deck without actually showing them Dreadnoughts. And we are pretty certain they are Cephalid Breakfast, probably with Nadu. That seems to be how the deck is built these days, and we saw Misty Rainforest, though we didn't see an actual green source. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the control thing again. I've enjoyed it so far, and a really cool thing about Phyrexian Dreadnought decks is that they are naturally very good against Thassa's Oracle decks, because everything that gets Dreadnought into play also stops Thassa's Oracle from winning, which is why I've cut Slip out the back, because that Oracle doesn't care about that, but Oracle does care about Dress Down, Doorkeeper Thrall, and Stifle, all of which are great. And I'm gonna do it like so. I like this. I can Wasteland a Saga. I can Force of Will a spell. I can cantrip. I have half of a threat ready. They have a Ponder. If I had drawn a second Wasteland, I would have fired off on the Tundra, but I don't think that's right. Just straight up like this, knowing that they're an Urza Saga deck. I do Force of Will now. I'm putting Swords of Plowshares in my hand. Both of those are good against Cephalid Breakfast. I'm going to shuffle away the second Dreadnought, which is 2 cards down right now. They brainstormed. They fetched for a green source. Carpet of Flowers. Okay. I don't like Carpet of Flowers being in play, obviously, but if they are a combo deck, I don't want to Force of Will this. They did get a bonus Ponder in off the Carpet. I could waste my own Tundra. Then Carpet doesn't make any mana. Got him. Okay, passing the turn. I have Force Blue card and Plow. Cryptic Coat can start applying pressure next turn if I'm willing to tap out. Blighted Halfling gets plowed. Urza Saga gets wasted. I made a green for second Carpet. Okay. Glad I didn't fight over the first one. Okay, plow this Halfling to keep my Force of Will relevant. And I'm going to fetch in my upkeep for the basic planes. Don't want to turn these carpets on any harder than I already have. Daze, pretty bad card against double carpet, but taking out Urza Saga is nice. And the Daze does pitch to the second force. Blighted Halfling's back. Maybe I'm supposed to force that. But I could force Nomad. Otawara, despite being a removal spell, I'm still not trying to feed them too much mana here. Cryptic Coat, please be a Dreadnought. It's a Swords of Plowshares, great. Just the card I wanted to draw. They have 5 mana here and can make a Legend uncounterable. Ooh, they decline the Carpet. They either don't have any spells to cast or they're being clever about when they're using these. It certainly reads like a Nadu. Indeed it is. Other Carpet triggers. That is just a 3/4 until they do something with it. Saga is another land that doesn't feed Carpet. Keep the dream alive. Attack you for 3. I am losing the race, but Urza Saga hopefully will change that. And I can bounce Cryptic Coat to get a second blue card for my second force, if I want to do that. Halfling is attacking. I still think it's right for me to be applying damage rather than holding back the Halfling while I take beats from Nadu. Misty Rainforest. Second Dreadnought. Sucks to suck. I don't think mana is their gate right now, so I am going to play the island. That just does not seem to be the problem they're having. And by playing the island, I can Force of Will twice and still activate Urza Saga. They've been to Force of Will off of Meticulous Archive. Declining Carpets. Halfling can't attack here because I would block it with a 2/2. I'm at 12. And the real beats start coming now. 2/2 Construct. The Fairy Time Rattler. I'd rather just bash their head. Lava Spur Boots. Equip this construct that is sleepy. Present a lethal attack, which unlocks all my Force of Wills. They could block with Dryad Arbor, I guess, if they have one of those. We've seen that, right? Was that this game? Did I kill that already? No, that might have been my previous round opponent. It's all blurring together. Swords to Plowshares. I have 2 forces, so let's make you have 2 things. Oh, alright. They're Hellbent now. Double force. Now we are actually in trouble if they top deck. They have to block with Halfling here or die. But we are actually in a little bit of trouble if they rip a Nomad or a Shuko or a Green Sun Zenith or a Bristly Bill, you know, all those cards. We're not dead, though. They only have the one creature to start the chain with. Yeah, Edge Maze makes more sense. I don't think they would have blocked with Halfling if they have access to Dryad Arbor. Uh-oh, they kept the card on top. Alright, I'm F6'd. Shuko, okay. You get 2 flips. Source of Plowshares is fine, but doesn't save you. Teferi Plow, okay, you're completely stable. Great. That was really good. Okay, there's Teferi. Yeah, this just kills my 2 constructs. Cryptic Coat still providing a threat, but now they're drawing 3 cards a turn. What a insane perfect 2 cards. Okay, they went after the one with Ward. They haven't used their carpets yet, I don't think. So they still have mana this turn. That wasn't a complete spew. So Lava Spur Boots give anything I draw haste, or it could give my unblockable creature +1. They have 4 mana to cast Swords of Plowshares with, and whatever they drew, which I assume is going to be perfect. Playing Nomad plus Plow here. There's Plow. I have Ward 2 on that. That's gone. 1 mana left, 1 card in hand. Oh my goodness, it wasn't a Nomad. Okay, I'll start with Brainstorm. See where that gets me. Basically nowhere is the answer. They put the boots on the construct. Can't equip the coat, unfortunately. That's just not how that card works. And I'm going to put them to 1. Or make them lose Nadu. I guess Brainstorming again is about as good as this gets. Surgical Extraction, interesting. So I put back the Dreadnoughts. Does Wasteland do anything? Wasteland picks up my Cryptic Coat without actually denying them any mana, so I'm not doing that. Force of Will, Brainstorm, Ponder, Swords to Plowshares. They have 2 of those left. I'm going to extract their Swords to Plowshares. Tropical Island in their hand. Their deck has 3 Nomads in it. The Brainstorms, of course. Yeah, any creature's insane. 1 copy of the One Ring, yikes. Okay. Well, hope they brick. Go. Plus Teferi. Whip Shuko, hit Green Sun Zenith. Whip Shuko, hit Nomad. Alright, yeah. If we're just tutoring cards to our hand. And then Zenith should be able to get something that wins the game. Yeah, they have an Nantuko. Okay. Good job. You figured it out. Okay. We lost to 4 consecutive Demonic Tutors. I think I want more endings in. Try to be able to fight the fair plan a little better. I'm going to cut one of these surgicals. That didn't actually seem very good. Okay, let's go. I will keep this. Represent that Stifle. See if they want to and if they can play around it. Ooh. Feed me that. Ponder. More Stifles and a Prismatic Ending. I can live with that. Stifle, obviously. Misty Rainforest. Oh my god, please pass. Wow, they passed into the other Stifle. Okay, I can decide if I want to draw another Stifle next turn. Yes, I will continue beating up on your lands. Thank you for the opportunity to do that. Though being a Stifle deck and a Wasteland deck puts them into the spot where it's like, you know, one or the other. I am going to draw this Stifle. I think just keeping the beats coming is really funny. I'm going to Wasteland in their upkeep. Okay, first 3 lands are dead. Can they stop playing them yet? Nope. Okay. And now my hand kind of doesn't do anything until I find a threat or more disruption. Screw beats Flood. And they just immediately have 2 mana. At 5 of those, it was never a problem. This is going to be the... Yeah, that's going to be Halfling. I have Prismatic Ending for that. That's why the deck is constructed in the way that it is after sideboard. They Ponder. 2 Thralls. I would like a Thrall, yes. Take the Thrall, end the Halfling. See if they want to fight over this. They do, okay. Force pitching Teferi. I'm going to force pitching Dress Down. With Thrall in my hand, I don't think I need Dress Down. But losing the Force matters. Because now they could stick a big 3-drop. Shuko doesn't matter on its own. These boots, here they are. That means my Saga Tutor targets are only Dreadnoughts from here. Right, Doorkeeper Thrall. Playing this out ahead of a potential Stoneforge Mystic is a little risky. Like if I draw Stoneforge right now, we're going to be stepping on our own tail. Okay, didn't matter. Draw Stoneforge right now. Played around it. Just good deck building. There's only 1 tutor left here. It's Cryptic Coat. I think Stifle is worth more than attacking for 2. I was right. Stifle! kill the 6th land of the game. Okay, let's see what happens here. My opponent said disquatting. Do you see that? Disguating. Disquatting. I agree. This is disquatting. Okay, let's put in Cryptic Coat. Please be a Dreadnought. Please be a Dreadnought. Please be a Dreadnought. It's a Daze. Okay. I will give that Ward 3. And I'm not going to play Otawara because I think that's more useful to me as an Otawara. And I still have Cauldron in the bank. The surprise second wave. Ending my boots. You got me. Glad that wasn't targeting a Phyrexian Germ token. Okay, another one. Here's Cauldron. Back for a bunch. Opponent is dead on board. If they draw a land, we've seen their ability to just hit perfects off Nadu. But we dodged! Alright. We just had to kill 4 of their lands. On to the final round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the draw in the final round versus a Yorion. I'm going to keep this hand that has a turn 2 Dreadnought with Force backup. See if we could cheese. It would be hard to cheese Death and Taxes, which does appear to be what's going on. Well, I hate that Aether Vial, but I don't think that's where I can put my Force of Will. Kind of just all in on Dreadnought Force being enough here. Okay, so they have at least 2 colors. Glad I didn't fight over the first Vial, though I'm grouchy that they have any at all, much less 2 of them. Fetch for Archive. Ponder. I don't want that. Drew one anyway. Okay, here we go. Phyrexian Dreadnought, stifle it in. 3 is the number where a Vial just 100% kills Phyrexian Dreadnought. Hopefully I can get at least 1 attack in and then deal with a Vial. Or find a slip out the back by then. And none of this is good. And if they go to their turn, Vial and Thalia, and then cast Swords to Plowshares, there's nothing I can do about that either. Tundra. This could be Breakfast. Oh, wow. Esper something or other. Esper Taxes Scam. Esper Vial. That's a deck that I've not heard in a long time, but this might just be Esper Vial. They just wish for Yorion. Suspicious. My own Swords to Plowshares. Alright, I'll play Otawara. And then Smush for 12. And hope they don't have anything. I could brainstorm looking for a Stifle in response to Aether Vial. Jesus, Gilded Drake. Well, Swords to Plowshares beats that. They do both have to exist to get the exchange. Force pitching Yorion. Okay, that makes sense why they grabbed that. Daze works right now, so I'm going to brainstorm and try to find Daze. We did it. Okay, put back Cryptic Coat and Ponder, and then Daze this Force of Will. And now I still have Force Blue card up. So they go to 21. Then they get smushed. Okay, it's still a 2-turn clock, even with that extra 3 life. Okay, 3 cards in hand, Vials on 2 and 3. Probably some easy tutor chains if they have anything to put in here. But if they have to cast a spell, I'm ready. I've done what I can. Vialing for 2. Satoru draws a card. Okay, I see what this deck's about. Esper Vial with Satoru. It's a crazy draw engine. Whenever this or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if none of them were cast or no mana was spent to cast them, draw a card. 3 cards over there. 1 Vial left to tap. They have 3 toughness on the board right now, which is exactly dead. Wow, alright, Dreadnought. Chugga, 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 chugga. Okay, we're playing against Esper Vial. I'm interested in things that clear the board or kill creatures or kill Aether Vials. I'm not interested in Force of Negation. Back to basics. This deck has always had horrendous mana. Shadow Spear seems reasonable. I could go full Forceless. Even Daze kind of mid. Though if I'm killing Vials, Daze gets a lot better. And if I'm going back to basics and Wastelanding, Daze gets a lot better. Okay. Yeah, I think this plan that I've been on most of the league is going to continue to be my plan here. Control deck going into game 3. Game 2. I will keep this hand. I like the back to basics a lot. I like the Wasteland a lot. Mana is how I'd like to exploit this deck. Of course, they have Aether Vial. I have answers to it now, though. Not in my hand, but in my deck. And in my hand. Scoreboard. Basic Plains, Prismatic Ending. Handled it. Let's see if they have 2 again. Marsh Flats. Fetching a non-basic. Satoru in the rarely seen cast mode. Okay. I would like to plow Satoru and then wasteland them. I think I'm more worried about their white cards than their black ones. Cycling Troll, that hits their next land drop. And they did have a scrub land to fix it back into white. Dreadnought. Gonna play Stoneforge Mystic. My spells are all just resolving here. I think I'd like the coat. I'm just always gonna take the middle of the road option in a game 2 where I don't have Force of Will versus a highly interactive deck. Yeah, they could be representing Bowmaster here. I'm just gonna pass the turn. Brainstorm can also set up. Yep, there we go. Brainstorm can set up Dreadnought to be under the Cryptic Coat. If I put back Dreadnought and back to basics in that order, well, I even just drew a Daze, and I know I'm not drawing a land, so yeah, I'll Daze this jerk. Okay. That was the best 2-drop they could have, and I have Activate Stoneforge put in Phyrexian Dreadnought available to me. The Dreadnought will have Ward 2 as long as it's cloaked, but it will lose those abilities, but it'll still be large and unblockable once it's turned faced up. They did have double Bowmaster. It's more important to me to get this Dreadnought in than to brainstorm again. You're brainstorming now. I can even slip the Dreadnought out the back if they have removal. Cycling Troll. I have to imagine reanimates in this deck. And a Vial. Okay. The turn 6 Vial is way less scary than the turn 1 Vial. Okay, end step. And this also clears the top of my deck, which means if I draw a land, I can shove this back to basics. Dreadnought's under there. Land off the top. Oh, it's even a basic. Give me that. Okay, are we in? Cool. You can't block this thing. I don't think you're going to want to trade with this thing. Start pushing damage. Okay, they're at 17. I have Prismatic Ending for the Vial lined up. Now Ward 2 is untouchable. Even if they Vial in a Gilded Drake or something, or a Flicker Wisp or whatever, they're not going to be able to ever touch a cloaked creature. Let's end the Vial and see if the game ends with it. Activating the Vial. You might as well. That's free to do. Attack with my creatures. Okay, so they go to 13 here. What am I worried about? I'm worried about turning on Solitude. Yeah, the Dreadnought flip is lethal next turn, so I can just keep in my lane here, moisturized, thriving. And they scooped it up. Ended up with a positive record after a tough start. It is fun to have 2 different things that your deck does, being the Tempo Stoneforge deck and then also being able to shove Dreadnought. Though I do think that both plans are held back by the other. We had to mulligan some cool Stoneforge Mystic Tempo hands because they just didn't have colored mana. We have these 6 colorless lands in the deck. If we're not playing Dreadnought, then we don't have Urza Saga. We don't even need Urza Saga to facilitate Dreadnought, honestly. I honestly think that the Sagas were not really pulling their weight this league. There were spots where the only thing I could tutor was a Phyrexian Dreadnought that I couldn't enable. There's only one other thing, and we don't have that many ways to make Dreadnought happen, especially if we're using Stifle to beat up on their mana to make room for Stoneforge Mystic. Clearly this works. There's plenty of good legacy cards in here, and the deck does have a plan. I think that if you decide that you want to play Tempo or Midrange Stoneblade, you should do that. And I think if you want to play Dreadnought, you should do that and commit with the full set of Thralls and Dress Downs and add the Null Drifters and really be that. And if you want to be Stoneforge Mystic, you should be that. Because outside of Cryptic Coat, there's no synergy between the 2 plans, and Doorkeeper Thrall actively blows out Stoneforge Mystic and everything it wants to do, while being one of the better cards for Dreadnought decks. So Kari, congrats on winning your tournament. I think you will find your wins come easier if you pick one plan or the other than if you keep trying to do both. Hopefully that's helpful feedback. I did have fun playing the deck. I love Dreadnought decks. Always do. I love Stoneforge Mystic. Always do. Thank you for sharing this with us. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.